Boom shakalaka, what is going on everybody? Randall here from Crypto Love. In today's episode, I am going to be talking to you about what I believe is the at least $20 million Bitcoin endgame. You see, I was perusing the old YouTube and I came across this popular video by Token Vision. He says a $10 million Bitcoin endgame. And I got myself to thinking, you know, McAfee says $1 million. Some other people have different things. But then I did some mathematics. That's right, scientific evidence, research proof, which I'll be bringing at the end of this episode, to show you that actually a $10 million Bitcoin is quite reasonable. And more than that, I think that a 20 million plus is very likely, and I'll get into all of that stuff in a moment right after I just say thank you guys so much for subscribing and nuking the shit out of the like button. Also guys, if you're looking for a place to hang onto your Bitcoin while you wait for it to get to $20 million, well sure, cold storage wallet, awesome. But if you're not using that, check out the Monarch wallet. It's free. If you guys ever like Ethos or something like this blows the pants off of Ethos, holds 1,900 cryptocurrencies, and thanks to a partnership with Celsius Network, you earn interest on your Bitcoin while you're holding it. Right now, over 6% interest per year. Crazy. So, let's jump into things. You see, because McAfee, he stuck his neck out there quite a few times. He says Bitcoin price will hit $1 million in 2020 because of math. Don't be stupid. Okay, he says it many times in quotes. I mean, first he was saying it was going to be worth $500,000 by the end of 2020, and he said, if not, I will eat my own dick on national television. But then he doubled down, and furthermore, he says it's basic, simple math. And I'm actually going to go into some of that math coming up soon. But for those of you who have not seen this thing, this is a Reddit post from 5 years ago predicting the price of Bitcoin. And as you can see, even though it was made 5 years ago in 2014, it's been pretty correct in terms of price. So it said at first it was increasing by a factor of 10 every year. So from $0.1 in 2010, $1 in 2011, $10 in 2012, $100 in 2013. But then there's a slight slowdown. So every 2 years it goes up by a factor of 10 in order of magnitude. So $1,000 in 2015, which happened, $10,000 in 2017, which happened, $100,000 in 2019, which may happen, and $1 million in 2021. So this is predicting prices going up. And furthermore, it talks about why it works. Now it gets a bit morbid in here. It talks about, you know, when the Bitcoin price gets pretty high, a lot of big people getting taken out. Like, for instance, what happened to the Winklevoss twins? Well, they were among the first to die. And why? Because Bitcoin allows us to give in to our greed. It certainly does. You see, why would somebody want to use an inflationary currency, a currency that loses value? Why? I don't know. It doesn't make sense. We want Bitcoin. We want money that actually holds its value. So, just to give you an idea of where we are in the world right now in Bitcoin, in case you don't see the big picture, because the picture is pretty damn big. Okay, so right now, all the world's silver, 17 billion. All the world's Bitcoin, a little over 100 billion, almost 200 billion, somewhat like that. Okay, so double where it is right now. The biggest companies, look at that, much bigger than the amount of Bitcoin. Furthermore, 50 richest people, much bigger than Bitcoin. Furthermore, California's GDP, much bigger. Fed's balance sheet, much bigger. All the world's currency, $7.6 trillion, much bigger. The gold, $7.7 trillion. The stock market, $73 trillion. And then it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Okay, global money supply, look at that. Global debt, even more. And then global real estate, even more. Derivatives, even more, $544 trillion. Do you remember how many trillions Bitcoin is? None. It's like 0.14 trillion. As a matter of fact, I like these quotes by Rhythm Trader. He does a good stuff of putting stuff in perspective. Right now in the world, the GDP 80 trillion, gold 7.5 trillion, funds 18 trillion, stocks 73 trillion, money 80 trillion, wealth 317 trillion, real estate 228 trillion, Bitcoin 0.14 trillion. Perspective is everything. And guess what? Bitcoin has the potential to overtake a lot of these different things. In particular, gold. I mean, gold is just a store of value. Yeah, sure, it's used in electronics, but you know, once it's not a store of value, then it'll just be used in electronics, maybe the price will go down. You see, why is Bitcoin better than gold? Because it's the ultimate bug out money. It's a store of value. Sure, it's a currency. It can be used because guess what? You can actually send a shitload of this money for not that expensive. All right? If you want to send actual real money, this cash money, you have to go to a bank, you have to wire it. They charge like 10%, some bullshit like that. Guess what? 43,000 Bitcoin were moved in a single transaction. That's $400 million moved for a 238 fee that took 15 minutes. Not the week the bank takes, not the 10%. I mean, 10% of that would be $40 million. Guess what? It was only $2.38. No government, bank, or third party had to verify transaction, nor could they have stopped it, the true power of Bitcoin. You see, it's the ultimate bug out money. Back in the day, when you had to flee your country, like think back World War II, if you had to leave your country because you had some Nazi bastards coming in there and trying to kill you, if you tried to take gold or something, people would take that from you. But guess what? You put your money in the Monarch wallet, for instance, or some other wallet. You remember your seed key? They can't take that from you. They can't. You could go through an x-ray machine. They can't take it from you. Or if you want, you can stick the ledger so far up your rectum, they'll never find it. You could do either of those. But check this out. Another quote by Rhythm Trader. By 2040, that's coming up in just a short while, everyone under 30 years old won't know a world without Bitcoin. That's right, young people, they know Bitcoin. Do you really think they'll prefer to stick with the limitations of fiat or a shiny piece of metal when it comes to saving their wealth? I don't think so. The times are changing, old people. You see, everyone will eventually become a millionaire due to inflation, but being a Bitcoinaire by owning an entire Bitcoin is a true, lasting investment. As a matter of fact, right now, lots and lots of people are already millionaires in the world, and they're not rich. You see, the smallest denomination of Bitcoin, a single Satoshi, is now worth more than some of the national currencies. That's right, one Satoshi is worth more than the Iranian rial, the Vietnamese dong, and the Indonesian rupiah. That's crazy. You could be a millionaire in those currencies and you own next to a nothing, less than a Satoshi. So, here comes the fun math part, and then we get into the even better part, okay? So this is the math part. Right now, there are 36 million millionaires in the world. That's a lot of millionaires. How many Bitcoin are there? Oh, 21 million. Wait, aren't some of them lost? Yeah, potentially. So right now, if you're a millionaire and you went to buy a Bitcoin, you couldn't. You couldn't. 21 million of you could, but the other 15 million would be shit out of luck. As a matter of fact, it's not only that, 4 million Bitcoins are lost forever. So we do some simple math. 21 million minus 4 million equals 17 million. That's less than half. That means that if every millionaire wanted Bitcoin, they could only own about half of a Bitcoin. So that gets me to thinking. So if you own half a Bitcoin, you're technically a millionaire. Technically. Okay? So furthermore, what's the average net worth of a millionaire? Well, there's this book, The Millionaire Next Door, I read a while ago, and it turns out if you read the book, and it says somewhere down here, the average net worth of a millionaire, I'll find it somewhere, is $3.7 million, probably right in front of my face. Here we go. We have an average household net worth of $3.7 million. The average millionaire is worth $3.7 million. That means double that because the average millionaire can only afford half of a Bitcoin. So reasonably, you're right at about $7 million per Bitcoin. That's close enough to $10 million. But that's not all, because that's not where I'm stopping, because that's the rational answer. That's the thing that's like, okay, mathematics says so, because of mathematics, it's true. You see, you have to think outside the box like this guy, Warren Buffett. No, that's Bill Gates. I know, whatever. But anyways, you see, most people overestimate what they can do in 1 year and underestimate what they can do in 10 years. You see, everybody's thinking 2021, okay, or 2020. They want to be a millionaire by 2021 or by the end of this year. They're overestimating what can happen in 1 year and underestimating what can happen in 10 years. You see, because right now it's 2019. How about by 2029? You think Bitcoin's still only going to be worth $9,000 like it is right now? Probably not. You think it's going to be worth over $1 million? Yeah, probably. You think it's going to be worth over the $7 million that mathematically you can calculate it to? I do. And I'm going to show you why. Because of this one thing called scarcity. Okay? Right now, there are 17 million Bitcoins in existence. There's only 4 million left to mine. You know what that means? If you want a Bitcoin, you better get it before the person next to you does. Because if they get it first, it's not there for you. It's not the US government. They can't just print out more of these things. You see, Bitcoin is what's called a deflationary currency. And you know, I went and I tried looking, are there other deflationary currencies? Because you know, we compare Bitcoin to digital gold. We say it's like that. But you know what? There's more gold mined every year. That makes gold an inflationary currency, kind of like the US dollar. All right? But if you look up deflationary currency, the only example that comes out is Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the only true deflationary currency. We've never had an example of this before. We have no idea what's going to happen with it. But I have some ideas, and I'm willing to share them with you. In case any of you have ever been in the United States the day after Thanksgiving, it looks like this at 5 a.m. at every retailer across the country. It is absolute madness. You see, this is an example of deflationary currency. You see, all these people, they've been waiting there for 12 hours to get their hands on one of these TVs, a 40-inch full HD LED TV for $100. They waited 12 hours there. There's only 5 of those TVs. So even though there's hundreds of people here, there's only 5 of those TVs for $100. That's a truly deflationary currency, and that's what happens when people go mad. And you know what? It gets so crazy that there's been 12 deaths and 117 injuries related to these Black Friday type incidents. You see, this is the madness that ensues when there's a truly deflationary currency. So, I bring it back to this, my little calculation of the $7 million Bitcoin. I think that is an underestimation because guess what? When madness ensues, when people lose their shit, that's when the price goes through the roof, as we saw this past January, and that's why I think that a $20 million Bitcoin is not only reasonable, possible, but almost a certainty. You see, Rhythm Trader, one more time, if you don't, follow him on Twitter. But the possibility of $10 per Bitcoin was laughed at, $100 per Bitcoin was laughed at, $1,000 per Bitcoin was laughed at, $10,000 per Bitcoin was laughed at. Well, guess what? Underestimating Bitcoin is expensive. Very expensive. Could be worth $20 million per Bitcoin or more. Definitely long term, for sure. I mean, people won't even use dollars anymore. They'll use Bitcoin. So anyways, guys, that was just my take on things. Why I think, yeah, $10 million Bitcoin, easy. 20 million, probably. Plus also, I want to make another clickbait video for all you guys. See if you click on it. Anyways, if you enjoyed that video, make sure to subscribe, make sure to like, nuke the shit out of the video, comment, do all the fun stuff that you do, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Love you. Peace.